All right, today we start our first part of the conics. And what we're going to do is we're going to write equations of parabolas in standard form. Then we're also going to graph parabolas. We're actually going to start with graphing parabolas, and then we'll worry about writing the equations. So here is our equations for parabolas. Now, this is the basic form for a y equals x squared parabola, and this is the basic form for an x equals y squared parabola. We do have both types. Only one, the x or the y, will be squared, and depending upon which one it is means which kind of parabola we have. This parabola here is one that goes either up or down depending upon the a value. The vertex is at h comma k, like we've seen before. So if you want to move it, it's opposite here with the x and then plus k at the end. Now with this other one, be careful please, because the y is in parentheses, so that's the k value, that's how much up and down we do, and it's backwards. And the plus h here is how much left and right, because it goes with the x on the outside. The y is with the k, and remember h comma k is alphabetical just like x comma y. Now there is something called a focus and a directrix. We'll not be spending much time on those. We're going to go ahead and use the formula here. We'll need it later on, so you might want to more appropriately write, no, it's this one here, sorry, the plus here, not the minus. We're going to use the plus one here, the focus here and here. For this one, it's a k plus 1 over 4a, and for this one, the left-right one, it's h plus 1 over 4a. All right, we're going to need that to find our a value when we're asked to go ahead and write an equation given 2 points. But otherwise, it's still just the vertex and the a value in here. A positive a, of course, goes up, a negative a goes down. So in terms of left and right, a positive a goes right and a negative a goes left. All right, let me show you how that works. All right, let's start with the most basic one here. Notice there's no pluses or minuses here at the end. So our vertex is at 0, 0, and then our a value is 2. So our h is 0 and our k is 0. So that's where our vertex is. That's our starting point. Now they did some points in here. They plugged them in and found the answer. You won't necessarily need to do that. But here's the first point, 0, 0. That's where our vertex is. And the slope is 2 here. So again, we're going up 2 and over 1 for that next point. Now remember, parabolas, we covered this earlier on in the year, they're mirrors. They have exact opposites. They have that axis of symmetry down the middle. So if I've got this point here, I go up 2 and over 1. There's also that up 2 and over 1 over on this side. And so we have those 2 different points, and we can go ahead and make our graph our parabola accordingly. So here's another one. Now we actually have some values. Again, it's a y equals x squared one. So this is just a normal up and down that we're used to. So again, this is always opposite. So our vertex is at 1 comma negative 5. So 1 comma negative 5. And then we have that slope of 2. So we go to 1, negative 5 here, and we go up 2 and over 1. Make that dot, and then of course it has its pair over here. And we can go ahead and draw our parabola from there. I'm not going to be 100%, I'm not worried about 100% accurate here. If we were, then I would just go ahead and use my graphing calculator to get those accuracy points. But I want you to just understand from looking at this where the basic idea of this graph is. So again, another y equals x. So we're looking at our vertex here. It's negative 1 comma 3 with an a value of negative 3. So we got to go to negative 1 comma 3 would be up here. Negative 1, 3. That's 1. This one. Actually, this is the only one. And if you notice, we go down 3 and over 1, and then it's got its pair over here, and that's what our graph looks like. You should easily be able to go from here into one of these graphs, determine which one it is, just from this information. All right, so let's go ahead and write this in standard form. So how do we do that? That's where this whole completing the square comes in. So what we're going to need to do is we're going to see how this x squared has a number in front. It has that negative 1. We're going to have to actually factor that out. So we're going to factor out a negative 1, but we only factor it out from the x's. That plus 3 can just kind of slide to the back. We'll deal with it in just a little bit, but it's just kind of hanging out there. right, so we move the -1 over. And now we're going to need to do that completing the square thing. So we're going to have that blank here, and we're going to have a blank on the other side. But notice since we took a -1 out, we also have to have a -1 over here. Because when I add, say, 4 here, I'm really not adding 4, I'm adding 4 times -1. So make sure that you have that so that you can go ahead and add the correct value to balance it out. So we divide this by 2 and square it. Divided by 2 is 1, squared is 1. So that value is 1. So we put a 1 in both spots. So this is now negative 1 times 1. And so it's x plus 1. We take that 1, that 1 here, we're going to move it over, which makes it 4. So when we talk about our vertex is -1, 4. So -1, 4. And we have a slope of -1, so we go down 1 and over 1. Same thing on the other side. And then we just kind of make our parabola from there. All right, so what about this one? We're going to have to pull the 2 out. So again, we have the 2 with the parenthesis and 2 with the parenthesis. If I pull a 2 out, I have to divide this by 2 also. So it's x squared plus 2x. The 5, again, just is hanging out at the end. 2 divided by 2 is 1. Squared is 1, so we're putting 1 in this value. So there's a 1 there. So we have x plus 1 squared. And this is 2, so I'm going to move that 2 over, which makes this plus 3. And that obviously is my formula there. So plus 1, plus 3. Vertex would be -1, 3, and a slope of 2 going up. All right, what about this one? We need to write it in standard form so we can find the vertex. Now notice this is an x with y squared. So the y squared is going to have to move to the other side. So we have to go ahead and take this and move it over, and it makes it -y. Now there's a value in front, so I'm going to have to factor that out. So I factor out the -1 here, and notice how that makes 4 -4. Again, the -1 in the back is just kind of hanging out. We'll get to it eventually. Put in our blanks. Again, this one gets a -1 times whatever that blank is because we got the -1 out here. Divide it. 4 divided by 2 and squared is 4. That should be -4, not just 4. So we put 4 there, we put 4 there. This is going to be x minus 2 squared. This is -4, but when I add it over, it's +4. So 4 plus that -1 is +3. So now when we're looking at the vertex, be careful with the vertex. The x value is on the outside because the y is on the inside. So the vertex is actually 3, 2. And then the a value would be -1. So vertex of 3 to -2 and an a of -1. So we go 3, 2. And now we're going left and right because this is an x equals 1. It's x equals y squared. So negative means back 1 and down 1, or negative back 1 and up 1 for our different points, that a value, and it comes off in this direction. All right, trying again. This one's a y equals x, so this should be up and down. So got to go ahead and kind of get this in the right order. So we're going to move the 2x over, just kind of move everything over. A -2x squared plus 8x minus 5. -2 is in front, so we got to pull that out. So this becomes 4 because I divided by -2. Still have that blank. Make sure we have the -2 in front of there. -5 is just hanging out on the back. Divided, squared is 4. So that makes this -8 here. So we're going to have to move that 8 over and simplify this. That's x minus 2 squared. When I add the 8 over, that becomes +3. So this is 2, 3 for my point. So vertex is 2, 3. There's the axis, and it opens down because a is -2. So there's 2, 3. And it goes down 2 here and over 1. And down 2 and over 1. And make both of those dots, and we continue on. All right, what about this one? This is a y squared one. So I got to move the y squared over. It becomes positive. So there's no value in front of a this time. That's great. So I'm just looking at the 6. Cut it in half is 3. 3 squared is 9, so I got to add 9 to the other side to fill out my blanks. Then I'm going to move the 9 over for -3. But this isn't x equals y, so this is the y value, which is -3. The x value is that -7. So we have -7 comma -3, which is this dot over here. This one also has the same one. These two are out, but our a value is positive, so we are going to the right. So we're going over 1 and up 1. Here we're going backwards, so this one is not the one we need. We need a. One more time, this is a y equals x, so it's up and down. So move that over, it does become -2. The 10 becomes -30 over here. So we're going to go ahead and fill this out. 16 divided by -2 is -8. Cut that in half and we get -4. Squared is 16, so -2, 16. Go ahead and multiply that. That's 32. But when I add it over, it makes it +2. So we have 4 comma 2 because that's our x value here, and then our y with an a value of -2. So we're looking at 4, 2. Nope. 4, 2, yes. No, no. Actually, this one's it already. But looking at our a, we do go down 2 and over 1. So that one does work out. All right, last thing we got to learn is how to write an equation given some points, like if we are given a vertex and a focus. So if we have a vertex and a focus, we're looking at which ones are the same. Notice we have 6's here for both of them. Since the y-coordinates of the vertex and the focus are equal at 6, the equation is an x equals y squared. Whichever one it is, that's the squared. So the y's are equal, so that's going to be a y squared one. If the x's were equal, it would be an x squared one. So we need this form. So we need to find a, h, and k to write our formula. Well, h and k come from here, so that's really easy actually. So the vertex is 8, 6, so h is 8 and k is 6. That's easy. All right. But we need to find the a. So we use that idea of the focus, that one formula that I said you had. And the x value for the focus is h plus 1 over 4a. Well, we know what h is. That's 8. We're going to put that here. And we have the a value from the focus, the x value from the focus, which is 2. So 2 is going to go in here, and 8 is going to go in here. So 2 equals 8. Now we move the 8 over. So we get -6. And then we just multiply by 4a. So that's 24a equals 1, and then divide. So a equals -1/24. So now I have an a, I have an h, I have a k, and I can plug those in and write my formula. So x equals -1 over 24, y minus h plus k. I'm sorry, y minus k plus h, because that's backwards, right? All right, so doing the same thing here. The 3 and 3 are equal, so that means it's an x equals y squared. H is 4 and k is 3. So now I'm going to use that value. We're using the x value from our focus, so it's 1 plus 4 plus 1 over 4a. Move the 4 over, it's -3. Multiply both sides by 4a, so -12a equals 1, and a equals -1/12. So we're looking at -1/12, so we're a or c here. And then we have a focus, so it's got to be y minus 3, not 4, plus 4. Make sure that you keep those in the right order. K, remember, goes with the y, and h goes with the x. And that's what I have for you today.